Hey guys, I'm back. It's Cleo. Oh boy. May hasn't been as rough as April, but it's been pretty rough. I do have the write-ups for the previous commentary up. I had initially said this would just be something we were going to put on the end of it, the last half hour, and OBS gave me trouble again, number one. But number two, I thought that was already 3 hours, commentary 5. Let's just split this off. So today, what I would like to do, we're going to run back to that garage that I missed. We're going to the place Maria wanted to go this whole time. We're going to a movie theater after that. And then we're going to be on our way to Brookhaven Hospital. And we're going to do about the first half hour. Hey, don't get bored, Maria. I swear. So we're going to do about the first half hour there. And when I get to a stopping place there, you're going to understand why. Okay. So how you doing? We doing good? She's impatient. Okay. I always forget to do... Are you still... Okay. I always forget to give a spoiler policy alert. I will potentially spoil everything except for the one big thing that James is going to find out. That could include information about the characters, how they relate to each other, what their motives are, what may happen to them in the ends of their stories. I might discuss anything in the game's 8 endings without giving away that one thing. I've gotten fairly good at talking around it. If you guess, that's fine. To that end, 2 of the endings do involve suicide. And to that end, there are hints about suicidal ideation and a lot of don't do it, background references as well. That is kind of throughout the entire game, plus the fact that James's wife died of a long-term terminal illness. That's a background theme. Let's see. None of this is graphic, but it is pretty constant. And there are constant reminders from his psyche that he had an alcohol problem. These are my content. I'm going to bang the table for emphasis. These are my content notes, essentially. There's really nothing hugely sensitive in this section. I'm going to talk a lot about movie posters. It's going to be fine. There are going to be some sections where I will say, you may want to skip this video. The whole thing. This is not one of them. We will get back to some more fighting when we get to the hospital. There is some gruesome stuff at the hospital, but not in this section. This is still when I say the sunshiny section, you're not going to believe me because this is Silent Hill. But this is a much brighter, nicer version of it. The beginning of the hospital. We will fight a lot of mannequins. We will deal with a number of those. Pipe, handgun, lots of fun. We're about to get a shotgun. That's going to be a whole lot of fun. That'll be next time, I think. But those are my content notes. For the most part, it's not, the one time I remember to give them, it's really not that big a thing. Even the vomit monsters don't explode this time. Even the lying figures are going to behave themselves. It's going to be a good time. So let's see. I have given like a TED talk on this area of the game and the commentary before about 500 times. I'm more concerned about not remembering everything. I had to study last night for this like it was an exam. So, okay, we're about to drive Maria nuts. Hey, girl. We're going to go exactly where she does not want us to go. Because you see, Bluebird Team does this thing, apparently in more than one game of theirs, where they're trying to be helpful. And they're like, listen, we're going to cut off these entire areas now that you don't need to go back to. You don't need to get lost there. So unfortunately, maybe you forgot something and you try to go back and it's like, this door doesn't door anymore. Fuck you. You can't go back. It's over. Well, as you'll notice, that hotel, that motel, cheap motel, doesn't have a door. It has an open entrance. You can't stop me. So we're going back to the garage that I forgot. And Ian did remind me. Hey, Maria. In fact, I think the first time I played the game, I came here at night. This area is open when you come back way, way, way later, and you can swing back here and get this. However, I want Maria here when we do it. So we are doubling back now. Thank y'all. Let's go back a little bit. Here we go.
Are you sure that's a good idea?
Of course it's not, Maria.
Yeah, it's fine. Just give me a minute.
All right, here we go.
Hey! You okay in there? Can you let me in?
Just a minute, Maria. Made it. This is our strange photo. It's a radiator. I don't know. I haven't seen this yet. We will look and find it. Here's the thing. Usually, I am a gentleman and a gamer, and I let Maria in immediately. And that is a phone alert. I'm waiting for an actual message. Whenever I try to let her in, she stands out there with her back to me and goes, James, let me in. And it's like, Maria, I'm standing here with the door open. Maria, there's no point. Just, you gotta come in now. Maria? Maria, girl, are you out here? Maria! Maria, I swear to God. That's right, James.
So, anything good in here?
As good as it gets.
Whatever. Just whatever. Whatever. Oh my God. I can't believe she did that. She apparently will never walk in. Like, you're just gonna sulk out there? What are you doing? Okay. This is another reason I wanted to do this now, rather than after we've been through the hospital and we're coming back. Mass layoffs at Brookhaven Hospital threaten the institution's future. The layoffs we reported on last month are continuing. Over 10 people have been let go, which has reduced the hospital staff by more than half. If the situation does not improve, staff shortages will put patients at risk. Brookhaven is a hospital with a long history. It was established in 1810 when a deadly epidemic swept through the Silent Hill area. Ever since, it has incessantly brought help to the residents of the town. However, more and more have made their voices heard of how, that's an interesting grammatical, they're heard of how the presence of a psychiatric hospital in the middle of the town has a negative impact on the local community. Residents fear that an incident from 2 years ago might repeat itself. Now, going back over, Ian's already played through this area. He has already streamed this area because I am deeply behind him. We have looked at all the incidents mentioned in the hospital memos. I don't think any of them refer to this incident. The timing isn't right. This seems to have been something that happened outside the hospital in order for people in town to know about it. So there's just a lot of shit going on. We don't even know what that's about. It could refer to something that happened or was in the background of a different game. We don't know. Okay, so we have health items. We have strange photo. We have some ammo. Now, let's take a look at the mise en scène of the whole thing, the way things are laid out. And this is Cleo starts making stuff up time. But what if I'm right? We have fun. Okay, so here's a sink, like the way James was standing at a sink in the very opening scene of the game, looking at himself in a mirror. He can't see himself there now. Picture of a brunette, pin-up picture of a brunette next to this mirror, kind of what's in his head, because he's thinking about Mary at the beginning. He's talking about going to find Mary, but he has forgotten something about Mary that he is going to find out. That's the thing I don't want to talk about. And that lack of insight, to me, is what the broken mirrors represent. He feels too guilty to look himself in the eye, but also he just can't see himself, who he is and what he's done. Okay. So now, here we go. With that in mind, all right, disappointment, of course. So now we have this area. Right. I'm pretty sure that's a poster of Maria, or somebody Maria was visually based on that James saw somewhere. It could be that he's remembering Maria from a previous time loop they had together. Where are you? Hey, girl. Full turn. Not the desktop. Come on. Thank you. Hey. How you doing? Can we do a full 360? Let's go. Here you go. Back to you. Here we go. Pretty sure that's you, who you were based on. The underwear is the exact color of her jacket. I think that's what we're meant to get out of that. Okay. So there's one of those calendars we see all through town, 1983. Which we think was the year that Mary fell ill. Might have been 1982. 1983 is the year on the pharmacy receipt with the cancer medications. And Masahiro Ito had said that the game, and he said this years ago, takes place in like 1985, 1986. If Mary was sick for 3 years, the math adds up on that. So here, next to the calendar, you have that little workout pinup, legs only. We saw this at the garage next to Jack's Inn. So this is James' whole leg thing. Okay, Mary fell ill. He has the whole leg thing. He gets lonely. He goes looking for company. Big Maria poster. Okay. Below that, we have the brunette picture, below the workout picture. The picture of the brunette is much, much smaller now. Like he's kind of putting Mary out of his mind. She's still there, but he doesn't want to think about her at this time. Now, the coffee poster, I got nothing. I mean, there's a coffee pot there. I mean, if you really asked me to work this in somehow, I would say, here's a guy messing around at night, staying up all night, drinking a lot of coffee to stay awake for all of his extramarital shenanigans, whatever he was doing, looking, more than looking, we don't know. And then we have this fan over here. And you know me with the whole fans showing that things are repeating, things are cycling. So this is both, he is repeating the events of meeting a blonde in real life, meeting a blonde or looking at blondes, and meeting a blonde here in Silent Hill. Or maybe he's been in a time loop and he has seen Maria many times. Because there was a point, I believe I did get to take you to the glimpse on Carroll Street where I walked James up to the door of the previous site of Heaven's Night, and Maria said she was having deja vu, which suggests that she has been going through time loops with him. So we have this fan here basically saying, yes, this is repeated. This is going to keep going. Maria is part of your cycle. And then you're going to look at me and say, why is there a toolbox of wrenches? Tipped over, spilled, full of wrenches on this table. What does that represent? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if that's just meant to be, hey, we're in a garage. Let's just throw something around that looks like somebody works here. Maybe there's some whole, like, James stopped trying to fix his marriage and went looking after other women. Maybe that's what it is. I don't know. I could be making up all of this. I am not for 1 second going to try to assert that I have cracked the code. But I do think that if you want to, because that workout poster is repeated. You see the brunette poster twice in this one room. The blonde poster is unique. You do not see it anywhere else in the game. So anytime I see things that are either specifically repeated for you to see, not just tucked under a bunch of flyers, or something that's unique and very specifically set in front of us, like this blonde poster, I feel like it's here for a reason. What is that reason? As opposed to drink me and hot dogs. These signs right here. Although drink me does kind of have an Alice in Wonderland vibe to it, and we will see some Alice in Wonderland imagery. But I don't think that's here specifically for a reason. You hear? Where are you going? Hey. All right. So what I wanted to do now, I will look around and see if there's anything. No, I've already broken this. Okay. So as much as I would love to go fight the backyards of Silent Hill again, seriously, I really love that, as bad as I am at it when I'm actually talking at the same time. What we're going to do is we're going to jump ahead. Let's see. And you know, while I'm here talking about blondes and brunettes, I should have done this at the top. I knew I forgot something. I said in the previous commentary, I've written all of this out already. There won't be any corrections. I've got everything. Yeah, no, I fucked up. Maria has always had brunette roots. She's always had them. They didn't add those for this game. I don't know how I misunderstood that. I even went and checked. I misunderstood something Ian was telling me. Apparently, the pictures I looked at of Maria were either at a low enough angle that all I saw was blonde hair, or they were from the Berenstain universe. I don't know. I go in and confidently say this, and I'm completely wrong. Team Silent had initially put them in the original game to show imperfection, humanity. I know it was a big thing. People kept talking about how even her stomach was a little flabby, because she has that belly-bearing shirt. And she looked like a very realistic human woman rather than a video game character, per se. Like, sexy, polished, perfect. And I appreciate that they did that. Although, if that's flabby, please sign me up for that. But they had it from the start for a reason, and it didn't have anything to do with her having a core of Mary, although I do believe she's brunette because Mary was brunette. So I think that does show that even if she's James's anima, which is the Max Starrett theory, and I think he's right, she is blonde because she comes from James's mind, but she still has that core of Mary with the dark roots to show that she's not just a female double of James. That's not just what it is. And even if she has changed, because he wanted something different. You know, blondes have more fun and all that. She is still Mary at her core. That is still who he wanted. And I find that really interesting. However, that is not necessarily why she has dark roots. And you know I hate telling you something incorrect. I hate it. That literally kept me awake. When I say literally, I mean it literally kept me awake for like 3 nights after I realized I had done that. Okay, so what we're going to do, now that I've taken you there, I'm going to jump ahead. I've already played forward to Toluca Prison, so to keep up with Ian and our discussions. Where do I want to take us? I want to take you to Heaven's Night. Can I get there? No. Here we go. Okay, so we've already had a long talk about this. And as soon as we do this, I'm going to check and make sure that I started recording. That's Steam. Okay. We're recording. Good. Sorry, buddy. I like to record things now that I'm so behind Ian. I like to record just for the two of us what he's about to stream. And I go, hey, let me tell you my notes on it, because previously I was sending him my finished recording. So just to keep up. I recorded more than 3 hours to send to him. And I went to look for the video. And it hadn't recorded at all. It was error on my part. I know OBS has been mean to me, but it had to have been my fault. And so that's an entire 3-hour recording I didn't get. So if I'm going to be a little paranoid about that, you're going to have to forgive me. Okay, so I've already taken you all around here, right? Here's the poster of Maria, we think. Is that you? Do you want it to be? She would like to see James pole dance. Okay, so we're going to vibe with this music for a little bit. I'm going to tell you why. In Ian's stream about the music in the Maria scenes, and I've already told you this in the previous commentary, he talks about the devil's chord and the tritones right there, and how it's done with this really soft synthesizer sound. But when he played it on a piano overlay, it was very kind of gothic. It reminded me a lot of Phantom of the Opera. You can kind of pull the veil back on what Maria's intentions are. And even if they're not evil, they are against what James wants, which is to find Mary. And she wants to replace Mary. And so Akira Yamaoka, the composer, hides this through tones, through something that's off-kilter tonally. So we're about to go somewhere where the tones are fine. They're more harmonious. I can talk. However, the rhythm is going to be off-kilter. And that's why I'm telling you this now. We're reviewing this topic. Hey.
Let me know when you want to move on.
Let's go.
All right, then. Come on.
When you want to move on from your wife. Uh-huh. All right, look at the mirror. Look for her reflection. Come on. Can we get you? Can we get you? There. I don't know if you were able to see her. Point being, you can see her. Okay, there's James a little bit. I had this whole thing about how you can't see James in the mirror. I will be damned. There he is. Fuck me. I guess it's a good thing that I re-recorded this. I had this whole thing about how you cannot see him in the mirror. Ah, fuck. All right. Because the mirror is smeared over. So certainly they are trying to obscure his reflection from him. You can see him a little bit. Oh man. Okay. See, I'm glad we falsified that. I'm glad.
Come back later if you want. You know, You need a break?
I'm not sure if that's a good idea.
Whatever you say. I mean, any port in the storm, right?
I guess so.
Remember that she said any port in a storm. I would rather prove myself wrong than be told I'm wrong afterwards. Okay. So one last summation of what's going on in James's brain. The 1983 calendar. Mary's time of death. And the clock on the wall. Black high-heeled shoes. His whole leg thing. The fan. This is going to repeat. And in the corner, a poster tube at a suggestive angle. This is James's psyche. Just in one frame. There you go. Okay. Hey. Now usually the game crashes. The game is going to crash anyway. We're going to have a good time. I'm fully prepared to record this in 2 or 3 chunks as necessary. The game usually crashes. There's Wish again. She was born from a wish in that DLC. The game usually crashes when we first get to the place Maria wants to take us. And then it crashes at the very entrance of Brookhaven Hospital. I am somewhat traumatized by the dozens of times it has crashed at this one specific location. The scene coming up, because I got stuck there, I used it as my...
It's not far now.
Thank you, Maria. I used it as my test recording. You know, I do 30 seconds or so. Is it working now? Is it working now? No. Do it again. And so the lines, that's it? A garden? Like, just haunt my dreams. Just over and over. Come on, she's this way. She? Like, just over and over. I am always listening to that scene. Some say I am still there to this day. It is just nightmarish. Okay. Hey, how we doing? We got anything in here? No? And it's a really lovely scene. That's what's so sad about it. It's really lovely. We're going to go through this tiny little alley. Here we go. What we got here? No monsters. It's very nice. Okay, so I'm going to try and front load this so I'm not walking around Moonlight Grove for half an hour. Don't do it. Don't frame rate on me. Don't do it. Okay, let's walk away from that because she's going to start talking about it. We got anything here? No, we don't. When I had...
We're on the other side of that chasm.
She's talking about it.
Some detour. But hey, at least we're here.
Here meaning where exactly?
Come on, you'll find out.
She says that so sweetly. Just such a nice, soft, sweet tone. She does seem very genuine to me in a lot of ways. When I had said there was a location full of white flowers that's very associated with Mary, I'm talking about the Lakeview Hotel at the very end of the game. I said there is a location with red flowers. Maria, are you going to do this to me again? Were you just stand over there. Just stand over there. God bless. This is the location associated with Maria. It's covered in red flowers. They're the same red flowers we saw at the Me, Heart, She bench, kind of foreshadowing this. And what Ian talks about with the music, and I'm now setting up playlists for each commentary, full of my commentary video, his commentary video, more than one if necessary, if they overlap. Any videos I mention in the write-ups. So when I talk about movie posters, I'll put trailers for the movies I'm talking about. And he talks about the music in this scene and how it has multiple time signatures layered over each other. I think it's 5, 9, 4. There might be a 12 in there. I mean, it's truly nutty. And so it's far enough in the background that you listen to the story she's going to tell you, and it's fine. It's not necessarily distracting, but it's kind of there in the background. Something's a little bit off. She's trying to have these harmonious tones, and it's just not quite working. If you do try to listen to the tracks separately, and I'll have that in the playlist, it is kind of dizzying to try to follow the rhythm of it. It really is, chaotic isn't the word for it, but it is, I think dizzying is a good word. Kind of the way when she first appeared and that music came in, the null moon.
This is it.
Maria, I'm coming. The null moon music. And I said it was like heavy perfume. I think the layered time signatures have a similar effect of being, off kilter, kind of dizzying to be in her presence, distracting. Okay. So, what we're going to do is we're going to see if we can get through the door. I got the message I wanted, which is there's about to be some noise on your street. So, let's see if we can get in, how far it'll let us go. This is kind of a weird way to hold a door open and then walk through it, unless it's just really that heavy. But it establishes that James doesn't hold doors very well or very easily. Heavy doors. Okay.
That's it? A garden?
There's a bit more to it than that.
If you say so. I don't think I've been here before.
Come on. She's just around the corner.
She? Who is she?
There's a story told around these parts. Kind of a local legend. Tells of a woman who was cast out. Sentenced to die on an island out on the lake. But there was a man in town who fell madly in love with her. And every night, he would sneak out. Row across the lake, bringing her food and company. And every night, she would stand there, on the shore, holding a lit candle to help him find his way. But this one night, a terrible storm broke out, caught him out in the open, and it blew out the candle. Even in darkness, the man would not give up. He would not turn back. So he fought against the raging waters until finally the lake took him. They say even then, the woman never lost hope. She kept coming out at night, kept lighting the candle to bring her beloved home, to lead him to shore. Not sure how much truth there is to it. It's probably just a fairy tale. But she's become something of a local saint. A patron of undying love. Hence this place.
She's not here.
What?
She's not here. And why would she be? I don't even remember this place.
This was a mistake. I shouldn't have come here.
Hey. It's okay. There's plenty of other places to look. We can still...
Come on.
Okay, we're back. Let me make sure I'm recording. We're recording. Okay. We stopped for some noise outside right after the cutscene. Let's talk about that. This is another new scene for this game. I really love what they did, but we're immediately going to ignore Maria, and I'm very sorry. The thing is, that scream, if you look at their faces pretty closely, James looks kind of hopeful, as he might. Because what if that was Mary? Maria looks horrified. Because what if that was Mary? She is very reluctant to get up and go run after whoever this might be. And whereas James kind of has this daring do kind of like, let's go. And what if that's Mary? She's utterly fucked. Okay, so if you're playing this for the first time and you're going, maybe it's Mary, and you run out, you're going to miss this strange photo back here in the garden. Church entrance. I can't remember if this is the church you see in the Leave ending. Because it's the church we saw the door of with something carved on it. This is such a fancy rose window. I wonder if it's the Balkan church. But here's the thing. It says entrance, but we're looking at a window. So I don't know what the significance there is. That feels purposeful. But I don't know why. So I mentioned the red flowers. There's a little health drink as a reward for going and looking around. Here we go. Ian and I have differing, I won't even say interpretations because we agree with each other, I think. We emphasize different angles of that scene. And basically this is going to involve me walking around and looking at the back of James's head once again, and I'm very sorry. Whoop. The thing is, and I mentioned this back when I was talking about the sun mural way back, and how the sun seems to represent Mary, both in that mural and in Laura's drawings of Mary and herself as rabbits. So Mary is kind of associated with the guiding light of the sun. So when we get to the Historical Society, which actually I think Ian may reach in his stream recorded tonight, you will see a different version of this story. In this one, Maria says, the candle blew out, as in perhaps Mary died, and her guidance failed, and the James type character, the lover, in his search for her, much the way he searched to find the island, much the way James is bent on finding Mary in this town, he perished. And that Maria is sort of telling this story, consciously or not, as a warning, as Ian put it. If you keep looking for her, you will die. And this is why it's important that Maria said earlier, any port in a storm, as if to say, you could go somewhere else. There is someone else who will love you. You could choose a different port to settle down at. But you're going to get to the Historical Society. Whoa, hey. And it's going to say, let's look at some flowers. It's going to say that the lover was led astray by the bright light of the moon, which is false in comparison to the candle it led him astray. And so I had kind of theorized or established that Maria, being like Mary, sort of a double but not, is sort of the false moonlight reflecting the sun, right? What's this place called? This is Moonlight Grove. We are in a location, a new location for this game. Hey, girl. That is basically named for Maria. So the book in the Historical Society is basically warning you against Maria leading you astray. And she has told you this version of the story, and it may not be the true version. And that was what Ian pointed out to me. And I was like, I can't believe I didn't notice that. Good catch. My emphasis is more on the way Maria tells it and the way she puts it into her own voice with that humor and that flirtatiousness, and she was madly in love and, he went to bring her company. And I think she wants to put her face on the story for James to shore up that idea of any port in a storm. I could be that port. She wants to take Mary's place, as I've said. And she wants him to associate her with this story. Because, yes, she is talking about someone else's romance, and you might then say his existing relationship. But if he hears it, remembers it in her voice, she's put her face on the Lady of the Lake. And I think also she feels the story very deeply. I think she takes ownership of it when she talks about company and, puts her signature on it. But I think she also feels very deeply that she wants to be that lady waiting for her lover who's faithful until death, who would do anything to get to her. She wants that kind of love. And that's just such a beautiful shot of her sitting up on the bench, just looking up so starry-eyed at the statue. I think she really admires Mary and how James feels about her and the lengths James is willing to go to, and she really envies that. She wants that for herself. And ironically, I think in some ways she is kind of the James in her own story. She is the one saying, I will stop at nothing to get to you, to get your love, whether I perish in the attempt or not. And so it's kind of touching in a lot of ways that she wants love this much and she wants to be this faithful. And I think she admires both figures in the story. Trying to see if there was anything else. So yes, and Ian mentioned the music that's sort of off kilter if you really try to listen to it, because again, as sweet and gentle as she can be, as charming as she can be, she is trying to manipulate the story to change his plans and to say to him, you need to stop looking for your wife, which is the entire reason you're here. And you'll notice from the very beginning of the scene, James is kind of like sighing. He looks tired. He knows immediately this is not the right place. He says, I've never been here before. I don't remember this place. It's like, what are we doing here? Girl, I don't know you. Why are we here? This isn't the place. Why did you lead me around town? And that's why she wouldn't tell him where they were going. Because he would have immediately been like, I've never been to this place. Or, I almost want to be like, that wasn't in the original game. Why would I know that? Which is another interesting kind of idea of this meta text of this is new for the game. He wouldn't remember it, would he? I feel like I had more to say about it than that. Maybe I've just gotten a lot better at being concise. Let me look at my notes. But, and we had talked about how Maria is a more abrasive character in the original, more aggressive, questions him a lot. The big difference that you can really point to is on that first scene where this Maria says, you loved her, didn't you? And I believe the original Maria says something like, or maybe you hated her. Like, it's such a difference in tone. And this new scene really shores up this idea that this Maria is gentler, more romantic. I think she noticed that the toast to hope undying really seemed to resonate with James. He really liked that. And so she thought, I'm tricking him into going to this special place. That's the tone I'll take when I get there. And of course it didn't work because he's still too fixated on Mary. But again, this is sort of her taking ownership of the story, the idea of hope. And he would never give up, and the lady would never stop waiting. She would always hope. James has hope undying. And you see this through the endings as well. And I had just thought of this. I was sort of taking a break between these recordings. The idea of waiting, is Mary waiting for him? Because her light to him is the radio, and to a lesser extent the letter that he did or didn't receive, depending on how real you think it is. The radio that occasionally crackles and he hears her voice, and it's like, okay, this is a confirmation that she is here somewhere. And you will hear the radio act up a couple more times later in the game, kind of saying, no, I am here, James. It sounds impossible, but yes, I am here. And that's her flickering candle, if you will. And there are endings where there's an ending where she tells him to get fucked. You're a terrible person. And he has earned that, really. There's an ending where it turns out that she didn't stop loving him despite everything he's done. There's an ending where he has to realize that she was never really there at all. He came to Silent Hill and she was never there, and she's not there with him at that moment either. There's an ending where she is there and she says, I'll always be waiting for you. So the Lady of the Light story is sort of the story of James and Mary and how devoted they are or aren't to each other. And I do think it's important that Maria, the first time we really hear it told, Maria is trying to take ownership of it. And bless her heart, I understand it, because we have this DLC from the original game, Born from Her Wish, where she was basically manifested this morning, quote, for him. She wants to live. And that's what living requires, that he love her and she's there to love him. And what else can she do? And I think this version of the game gives her some implied interiority when we sit and watch her look up at that statue, and we can kind of imagine what she's thinking and hoping and dreaming of. And I don't think, because I have watched the original game once through, I don't think the original game gives her that. I don't think it intended to. I want you to come look around at this before we...
It came from inside the theater.
The scream, yeah. I want you to come look at this before we set off a cutscene. Okay. I think Artificial Sky is the name of the movie. I think this is a reference to Vanilla Sky, which was the 2001 Cameron Crowe remake of Abre los Ojos, Open Your Eyes. It was the one with Tom Cruise and Penelope Cruz. And if you're my age, you may remember some tabloid shenanigans. Around that time, I think Tom Cruise was trying to find his next wife. But it does, I'll give you some slight spoilers for it. It does have a dream world, unreality kind of thing going on that makes a lot of sense to reference. And there is something that happens to the Penelope Cruz character that is very, very relevant to this story in particular. If you know, you know. So I think there's a very good reason that movie got referenced. This one is a clear reference. Return to Owl Creek Bridge. Back for a happier ending. This is the 1890 Ambrose Bierce story. It's often taught in American high schools. It was also featured, it was a French short film that the Twilight Zone in the 60s got the rights to show as one of its final episodes, which is where I saw it. I have not been able to find it online. I would love to link to it. I would love to embed it, but I have not been able to find it to watch online. It's almost entirely wordless. And it is actually set during the Civil War. I believe it's set in Alabama, which is where I am, which is kind of wild to me. And it's about a Confederate soldier who escapes a hanging. Or does he? And it's one of the great major examples of the life lived in an instant, theater of the dying mind concept. And I went and looked this up. This actually isn't the invention of that trope. There was even a Charles Dickens essay about a prisoner that may have inspired Ambrose Bierce specifically. But this trope also goes back as far as the Tang Dynasty in China. So it's been featured in literature. However, this is a very famous example of it. And the title, An Occurrence at Owl Creek Bridge, and this is Return to Owl Creek Bridge. It's so specific and unique, you're going to get it immediately. Or you're going to Google it and go, okay, that's going to come up. That's not a common phrase. So if you want to get across the idea that this game may involve a man imagining a life in the moments before he dies, this is a very good reference to get that across. And Ian and I'll give you something else to look at. Ian and I have discussed, I think he agrees with me. There's 6 serious endings, 2 joke endings. I think the 6 endings work best as a collective. They are all the ending. And whichever order you put them in, this is a cycle of James learning, or he's doing better, he's doing worse. He goes, 1 step forward, 2 steps back. And eventually he ends up at whatever ending you think is the most resonant. I like Leave, where he finally gets some kind of closure and a reckoning and takes accountability. I don't know if I want to give this away, but there's an ending that Ian is shooting for. If you put that after Leave, implies that this cycle will never, ever end. And it kind of makes me want to just lie down on the floor and cry, which is a good sign. I think maybe that is the best one. The one where Mary says, I'll always be waiting for you. We'll talk about that in more depth when we get more towards the end of the game. But these are all endings that support each other in my mind. And so and I think Ian and I have settled on In Water, which is the ending I'm going for because I haven't ever gotten it before. That's the ending where James looks around and says, he's in his car, and he says, you weren't ever really here at all, were you? And he has to accept that he's here, he's alone, that, spoiler, I won't talk about, the picture goes black. You hear him drive his car into the lake. This is why I gave a blanket warning for suicide and suicidal ideation. And at that point, you might say that everything we have seen before, he was alive at that point, theater of the dying mind. And then after that, the subsequent runs of the game are after he has died. You could say that. And now he is in some kind of purgatorial state, and he's having to do this over and over until he gets it right, or doesn't. And it goes on forever. And this is all theoretical. All of this is theoretical, and I think intentionally the game leaves it ambiguous. The game doesn't want to say, yes, this is right or wrong. It gives you the tools to come up with your own interpretations. You don't have to like this interpretation at all. A lot of people don't like time loop theory at all. And I think some people want to pick one ending and say, whichever this was, each one is unto itself. It's not a collective. That's what I really like to think of. That's how I like to think of it. So that's my personal interpretation, and that's what I'm working off of. But, here's artificial sky again. I do try to say as often as possible, this is where I'm working from, but it's not absolute. It could also mean A, B, and C. I do try to do that for y'all. Okay, so as soon as we climb into this window, we're done. Okay? We're we're going to have Laura and Eddie to listen to, so I have to go ahead and tell you now. This is the equivalent of that scene at the Bolorama where I told you Maria can't go in because she's not real. So she has to come up with an excuse to stay outside. And in this version, they have a very reasonable explanation of she can't crawl in this window over this broken glass in a short skirt. That makes sense. And she sort of, in a very deadpan tone, says, that's fine. I'm not a big movie fan anyway. And everyone just kind of goes, what the fuck is wrong with you? If you watch very closely, James shoots her a couple of looks like, what? Even he doesn't get it. I think she's just being very deadpan to play it off. I get you, Maria, okay? I understand. You get in my way a lot, but I understand you, okay? I get it. So watch for that. And it does crack me up the way he's just like, what? But yeah, this is the equivalent of the Bolorama scene where she has to have a reason to stay outside. And so we're about to see Eddie and Laura. And I'm going to point you at some of the other movie posters around in the room. But I'm not going to talk about them because you need to be able to hear what Eddie and Laura are saying in a room a good bit away.
Come on, there's gotta be a way in.
You look very urgent, Maria. You look like you're really on this.
You okay?
Yeah. Maybe you better wait here.
Okay. Not much of a movie fan anyway. And James,
Yeah.
be careful in there.
Yeah.
She has such a superhero girlfriend, kind of, be careful in there.
You didn't seem bored a minute ago. Screamed your head out, didn't you? You should have seen your face.
I told you. This big rat jumped right at me from under the seat. You would have screamed too if you saw it. Guts, fatso.
Hey, and what do you have to say that for?
Eddie getting bullied by an 8-year-old?
Why are you sitting here? I thought it said the cops were after you.
Nah, I don't think they follow me here. Besides, I blocked the door, so no one could get in. Not the cops, and not these other monsters.
You're weird.
Laura doesn't see monsters.
That's what everyone always says.
Well, I guess people call me weird too. And they yell at me. Especially when I do something bad. Did you do something bad? So the cops are angry with you?
I don't know. Maybe?
So why don't you just say you're sorry? It always works for me.
They wouldn't listen. Nobody ever listens.
Okay, number one, Eddie is so stunted by bullying, I think, that he gets along best with the 8-year-old. I think that's significant in terms of his character. I mean, it does make me feel a little sorry for him. I have this whole theory that you end up in Silent Hill not because you did something wrong, but because you feel guilty about it. I think Laura is here because she has unfinished business wanting to be adopted by Mary. She doesn't feel guilty about shit. And I think that's why she doesn't see any monsters. Like that, as an implication, confirms that Silent Hill's just a big playground to her. She's having a great time. She has no idea why James thinks she's in danger at all. And she has no idea what Eddie is talking about. Okay, here's something I wanted to make sure we saw. So there's some posters. I was here. Remember her. Non-existence. I think we'll see these more clearly elsewhere. And then there's this shit, which doesn't look like any movie poster I've ever seen. The graphic design of it doesn't. It looks like a Waterhouse painting. I cannot tell you which one. I Googled this. I image searched it. I cannot find it. I'm convinced it is based on a painting. If you know what I'm talking about, please tell me. The title says it doesn't sleep. But the way the L and the P are obscured, it says it doesn't see. The cult, the order, seems very female-oriented, run by a few female characters in the first and third games. I'm only vaguely aware of this. I don't know if this is a reference to something going on in those games, or if it's, hey, look at this. It doesn't see, James doesn't see that Silent Hill around him isn't real. I don't know, but that'll stop you in your tracks. Okay, this is pretty clear. I was here, kind of a time loop sense, or, Mom, my brain just died. But yes, in a time loop sense. A lot of people think it looks like the first glimpse we see of the fence in the construction site where originally you got your first lying figure, your first combat, except from the flip side of it. So I was here, this glimpse of the past. I don't know. It looks a lot... It has a real World War II vibe to me. I don't know. It might just simply be the I was here message. I looked for other movie posters with chain link fences like that. I really didn't see anything with a figure positioned in the bottom half. I saw possibly a George Romero zombie movie poster, Land of the Dead, which is interesting. And it had a severed hand hanging in the middle of the poster from the chain link. But it was a very brightly colored poster. That is the most tenuous link I could possibly think of. Remember Her seemed like sort of an old-fashioned, maybe 30s, 40s, romantic drama comedy, kind of the clothes just vaguely give me that idea. I went and looked up all kinds of movies on IMDb. Remember Me, Remember Her. Actually, that didn't show up. Remember You, a Japanese movie called Re/Member, which had a red figure of some kind in it, and I think maybe a time loop. Yeah, that was interesting. And there was a Korean film called Remember You that had some possibly interesting, in terms of being significant, possibly some interesting aspects. But, and then there's the Robert Pattinson movie, Remember Me, that pissed everybody off in 2010. I really didn't see anything that matched that. I think it's literally just Remember Mary. Well, James, stop walking. I'm not pressing a button. Okay. I'll find non-existence somewhere else where it's more clear. Okay. So if you push this wardrobe, I called it a cabinet one time, the noise will interrupt right there. Okay. If you do that too soon, they'll stop talking. So that's why I just cooled my heels there for a little while. Okay. We're going to check the restrooms for bullets, because that's where I always get mine. I always leave them. I always come back and check. Okay, can you get around that? Thank you. Thank you. Just as a side note, one of the problems with this game is that from walking into the Moonlight Grove all the way to Brookhaven Hospital, there is no save. There's no autosave. There's nothing. So every time OBS would crash on me, I would get booted right back to a garden. Oh my God. That's why it's in my nightmares. Oh my God. I was here, returned to Owl Creek Bridge, artificial sky. If they ever put in another patch, I am begging Bluebird Team to put in something with an autosave so that we at least have some save point between here and Brookhaven. I am begging. Because for whatever reason, I have seen other people have this problem. The game may not crash for them at Moonlight Grove, but it definitely kind of buffers and has a frame rate issue. It's not just me. So I'm like, okay, you've got a problem. If you can do that Born from a Wish DLC for me, I've been ever so good Santa. I've been so good. Maybe you can put in a little autosave patch while you're there. I would love you forever. And there's that eye. Hey, there's that eye graffiti we saw in Woodside. Still not sure what that has to do with anything. Eyes, like a single eye, is a motif we see in the hospital. It's a big clue to something. I asked Ian if it had to do with the cult. He didn't really think that was it. I don't know. Trying to look at the concession stand. I swear there was some point in this game, and I'm sorry, I jump from thought to thought within the same sentence like it has anything to do with anything. I swear there was somewhere in this game where I saw a refrigerated area where you could acquire a giant 3-gallon fuck-off tub of ice cream. I swear I saw where you could acquire such a thing. I have not been able to find it. But you're going to understand why I mentioned that in a minute. Okay, so non-existence is the one we haven't talked about. Can we go backwards? Do I know how to operate you? Do I know how to operate you? Okay. Non-existence. The poster itself reminds me of the poster for Never Let Me Go. The title makes me think of the David Cronenberg movie Existence with a Z on the end. And it is about a body horror type, a very fleshy video game console where you kind of enter this video game world neurally. Like you and somebody else tap into this thing. It's Jennifer Jason Leigh and Jude Law, as I recall. And through this biological console, you go into this virtual reality. And then there's a question of nested realities, as I recall. What's real, what's not. People with multiple identities. And, you know, Cronenberg being famous for body horror, I feel like that's a vibe with Silent Hill. That makes sense to me. That the devs would be familiar with his work. And existence, of course, non-existence. Silent Hill isn't real. Mary may not exist. And there are multiple endings, so in some of them, the ending seems to confirm that she does exist in calling him to this town. And there are other endings that force James to say, you were never here at all. So I think non-existence as a phrase can touch on a couple of different things. Okay, so we're going to go find Eddie now. Is it through here? I'm trying to think if there's anything I want to tell you when you watch the cutscene. Again, this is Scott Haining is the actor. And his performance as Eddie really grew on me eventually. Eddie is such an off-putting character that it was hard to separate that from how good a job the actor is doing. There's a line reading in here that I really like, but it's interesting to watch his face, Eddie's face, as well as James, because as Ian put it, this game kind of touches on the idea that we are all our own worlds. Not just that they each have their own Silent Hill that they're in that looks different. The monsters look different. Maybe there's no monsters at all. It's not just that, but in normal, mundane life, we all live in our own worlds. And sometimes we talk past each other and we don't understand. We're having two different conversations. And Eddie will later confront James and say that he was condescending to Eddie. And he'll say, you think I'm stupid. You think I can't see it. But you think I'm stupid. And this is a big moment, I think, in this scene where James will say something and Eddie will take it maybe worse than he meant it. And this also has a pizza box in it. And so this is kind of this motif of everywhere you see tons of pizza boxes, Eddie loves pizza. And he potentially has a problem with overeating. I believe the novelization says this. But they have chosen a different food for Eddie in this scene, for this game, that fits with the motif of coldness perhaps a little better.
Eddie?
Oh. You're,
James. We met back at the apartment building.
Yeah. I remember.
I see that you didn't make it out yet.
Yeah. I just didn't get around to it yet.
Well, at least you got your appetite back. Are you alone here, Eddie?
No.
Hell.
That's probably just Laura messing around.
The little girl? Laura, is that her name?
That's what she said.
I'm gonna go look for her. You coming?
Now you want me to come with you?
Never mind.
This is the second scene where we have seen that Eddie's breath is cold, visible. His Silent Hill is cold. Whereas James, his element is water. And we will eventually find out, again, this is something of a spoiler, that Angela sees fire. We're about to go in here. And I mentioned in a corrections video I did that I think these elements relate to the places where these characters die. Because, like I mentioned, there's an ending where James does drive his car into the lake. And I think that may be... Now, is that why his element is water? Or does he die in a lake because his element is water? Like, I don't know what the cause and effect here is. We don't see Angela die, but it's implied that after James last sees her in a room full of fire, she may die after that. Eddie is going to die. I mean, spoiler, but I told you I would tell you about the endings and the characters' fates. Eddie is going to die in a refrigerated meat locker. And I think that while James may become a better person, a more enlightened person as he goes through the story of this game, Eddie becomes a worse person. And he embraces a certain coldness, both literal and figurative. And he becomes a colder, less empathetic, crueler person. And I think that's why you see this frosty breath. That's his element. And they have given him ice cream for this scene instead of, I mean, the pizza boxes are there. Because I think it kind of... it doesn't really explain the cold breath, but it gives you a way to just kind of write it off and be like, maybe that's why. Oh, okay. You may not have noticed it in the bathroom in Woodside. Okay. Another strange photo. I now have two interpretations for this. I always do. These lipsticks, I believe, are assets from Heaven's Night. This is why I pointed out lipsticks to you. I think they've used different tubes, different cases. They've switched what the colors are, but this is from, these are from the vanity in front of the long counters in front of the mirrors where the girls would get ready, the dancers would get ready. And when I first recorded this, I was like, James, you're a piece of shit. Best flavor. And here's the bright red lipstick that's whole and, fresh, and that's probably Maria. And then there's this worn down purplish gray, kind of livid, like deathly sick kind of colored lipstick, like it's been used up, worn down, like Mary, who was sick for a very long time and died. And I was kind of like this was saying the red lipstick, the fresh, unused one, was the better one. Like, you piece of shit. And then I sat there and I thought, interestingly, the worn down lipstick is the one that's been used, the one that you go back to. Maybe that's the best flavor because you enjoy, I won't say using it like you're using a person, but you enjoy engaging with it. That's the one you like the best. You use it the most. Maybe Mary's the best flavor. I don't know. My first thought is Maria. I don't know. It's a very interesting, I don't know. It's ambiguous, like most things in this game. Yeah, I've tried to make sure I am not too certain about any one thing, and I think of multiple interpretations. All right, let's come talk to Eddie. I forget to talk to people. Hey, what you doing? Hey, Eddie. Look at me. Okay. So the moment I was talking about was when James is like, so you got your appetite back, which I would be kind of surprised too after all the vomiting, that now he's just housed these pizzas and he's into this ice cream. But Eddie is clearly hurt by this and his face kind of falls and he looks kind of angry. And I think he took that as being snarkier than James meant it, maybe. Although, in fairness to James, Eddie's sitting here raw dogging this ice cream like I don't know what Eddie expected. This is absolutely hingeless behavior. Of course somebody's going to be snarky about it. Eddie, my God. So we're just going to sit here and watch him do that. Okay.
Who is that girl anyway?
I don't know. All I know is her name. I swear. Didn't you want to go after her? Better hurry. Laura can be pretty quick when she wants to. Suit yourself.
Okay. Damn, at least get a soda cup to scoop it with or something. Damn. Okay. Eddie, I don't know what you're expecting. I think it's the novelization that implies or says that Laura came in to town with Eddie. I think maybe there was an intro to the first game that shows them sitting outside his van. Maybe it was on the curb talking. So there's some implication that he knows Laura because that's how she hitchhiked into town. I guess she escaped either from a hospital or an orphanage. I think she's looking for Mary, but she's a very intrepid little girl. All right, I'm trying to aim us for this because we're about to see a really bold Easter egg. You're not going to know what you're looking at unless you know. It's very quick. Here we go. Yeah, that's what James can't remember. It's starting to come back to him. That's what he can't remember. But you don't know what he's remembering until you see the full video. It's such a vague image, but that's it. In fact, the video that he's going to see, let me see if I can pull it up. It's the background of the menu. It is the background of the inventory menu. But it's such a vague, abstract close-up that you can't tell what you're seeing. Trying to see if it'll change at all. Will it change? Yeah, it's a close-up taken from the cursed video, if you will. It's what James can't remember, and it's right under your nose the whole time. And when we actually get to the video, I'll pull the inventory menu up again. I wanted to say, remind me, but I guess you can't do that. Okay. I don't have a chat. What kind of time are we making? I have physical therapy to go to today. As I've mentioned, I have a spinal injury. I have 2 herniated discs. My therapist is going to be, I guess he's going to be happy that I recorded this in more than one sitting. He's not going to be happy that I've been here for like 45 minutes. He wants me to get up every 15 minutes, which is not something we do in Silent Hill, Charlie. We don't do that. I don't know what you want from me. There's nothing in these drawers, by the way. I've been through them 6 times. There's nothing. The loot does not seem to be randomized. I've read walkthroughs that will tell you exactly where to find how many bullets. The number of bullets may be randomized. Or they may be suited to whether you're on light or difficult, normal combat. But for the most part, people can tell you, you will find a syringe here. So I can tell you there's nothing in there.
Hey!
Okay, see, my first thought when I first saw somebody play this was that, of course, Laura's going to run from him like stranger danger. Someone surely taught her that if some man is chasing you, you run from him. Then I remembered. She knows on sight who James is. I don't know if she saw him visit Mary. I don't know if Mary showed her a picture of him when he didn't visit, after he stopped visiting. But she knows who he is, and she doesn't like him. So here we have another fan, but we're also with a movie projector, and they both have this cyclical movement, this spinning movement in terms of repetition. So he's going to have to find this memory over and over again. Let's see. We have anything else here? Sorry, didn't mean to bump you into that. Why am I looking? Okay. I think I have shown you all the movie posters. Once we get downstairs, we're leaving. And my hope is that we won't crash. But if we do, I will figure something out. I just wanted to get us to the next save point. Because Brookhaven Hospital, the part I want to play for us today, is going to... Don't do it. Not the frame rate. It's going to take about half an hour.
Laura, stop! It's dangerous!
Okay, James. Good luck. Takes about half an hour. And I just want to get us to a stopping point that is past this section.
Maria? Did you see the little girl?
Yeah, I tried to stop her, but she went that way. We can still catch her.
Laura would not have seen or heard Maria because she's not real. Okay. And meanwhile, Laura's running around and he's going, it's dangerous. And she's sitting here going, there's no monsters here. What's wrong with you? Okay. The reason I said this was the sunshiny section. You'll see this more at the hospital. It's like the only sunlight in Silent Hill that we'll ever see. It's kind of this lovely golden hour lighting. I was here. I'm not now. Let's see. Reverie Theater. I first read this as Reverie Theater. And when someone called it the Reverie Theater, I was like, Why are you getting it wrong? And then I found out I was wrong. On the map, it's not very clear what it says. And a lot of people run out so fast that they don't see the marquee where it's more clear. I'm going to try a different tack in trying to get into the hospital. If I go in it one direction, it always crashes. So let's go a different way. Let's go look around, as I so love to do, and grab some loot, see what's there, and we'll approach it from a different side. See? It's like sunlight somehow. Look! Look at sunlight! It's the only sunlight ever in Silent Hill. Ever. And I think Ian and I have kind of talked about how, hey, thank you. There's kind of this expressionistic quality to Silent Hill because it is coming out of his psyche, or it's been redecorated for him by his psyche. And I think he feels kind of good about having some company, about having, how'd she say it? Company. Having some company around, having someone to talk to. He's in a better mood. We have this golden light. Whereas we're going to have something happen later, something tragic happen. And he is going to walk out into a dark and stormy night that is frightening and depressing. And again, it's expressionistic and it kind of matches how he feels. Okay, nothing there. I have seen Ian collect a number of things when he streamed this. I've played it too, obviously, but hey. Don't complain, Maria. She's so patient. She just knows now. Oh, is this it? Don't go here. Yeah, don't do it. Don't do it. If you go close enough, the cutscene starts, and that's when it crashes. Don't do it. Carroll Street. I haven't done a good author namesake explanation in a while. Carroll Street was named after, I want to say, Jonathan Carroll, who writes contemporary fantasy, slipstream fantasy, and one of his most famous books is called The Land of Laughs. Okay, we're getting dangerous. Getting a little dangerous. And it's about a writer and his biographer, if I'm understanding this synopsis correctly, who seem to both be able to change reality with their writing. And I don't know if that means there's then a dueling kind of reality thing going on, but there is a talking dog. And that really caught my eye since we have the dog ending. She doesn't talk, but it's still, it's an interesting, surreal dog theme there. I believe his son, Ryder Carroll, invented the bullet journal. I was like, I've been organizing my commentary in my bullet journal. That made me laugh a little too hard.
James, look.
No! Okay. No crashes. No crashes. A miracle has happened this day. Okay. Don't ever go into Brookhaven from the movie theater side. Don't do it. Come in from the ambulance side. Oh my God. Okay, I know there's something near the ambulance, I want to say. I know Ian picked up more stuff than this. I rewatched his stream of this area last night so I could remember what I wanted to talk about. Oh, I studied for this like it was an exam. I reviewed my notes. I reviewed my own recordings. I was like, once we get there, we gotta do the talking. We gotta do it good. I say as I stumble over my words. Did I not see an ambulance around here? I swear. If there is loot, it is mine. Hey, Maria. What are you doing? She's not complaining. I appreciate that a lot. By the way, yeah, that was why I was not in a hurry to run off after that scream, because I knew it was Laura. It sounded pretty clearly like a child scream from even the first time I watched the game.
Hey, come on, we gotta catch up to her.
She's fine.
Yeah, I know. It's just, yeah.
It's just, I don't care. He does care. He cares a little too much. That's another thing I was going to mention, which is that I've mentioned the whole thing, that it was confirmed that James and Mary wanted to have kids. So he does have some paternal instincts. And I think he speaks to Eddie and to Angela with a somewhat paternal tone. And I think that's why Eddie finds him to be condescending. He means it, James intends it as being polite, as being kind, interested in people. And Eddie is just not hearing it that way. You think I'm stupid. I think Angela really responds to it. But please let me just get into this building, please. I've tempted fate too much. I just want to get to the save point. Not the frame rate. Come on. I do love that shot of just like, da-da, horror hospital, thunderclap. She's fine. She loves it here. She has a great time. In control. I think we see all of these things later as well, more clearly. Look at all that sunshine, that beautiful late afternoon sunshine. Okay. What have we got? What are you looking at? You're looking at something. Bullets! It's our first shotgun shells. Yes. Okay. I was talking about James is associated with predator birds. And it was like, okay, a penguin. A penguin's kind of cute, though. I don't know about that. Now, we're at the crow. Which is a little bit spookier.
Is that a gun cabinet? In a hospital?
Yeah, but it's empty.
Somehow that seems worse.
Love a hospital that has weapons to use against its patients. Love it. Totally fine and normal. Very normal. Do you have any books here? I have searched the bookshelves. When I went ahead and played this ahead for Ian's stream, I took a lot of screen caps and I have searched for books on the shelves. For interesting titles, any kind of Easter eggs. Hit me with the 2. Hit me with it. 1, 2. You gonna hit me with the 3? Hit me with the 3. There we go. Okay, at this point, that's a lovely sunlit hall.
Where did she go?
I don't know. Let's look around.
God knows, Maria. God knows. It's a lovely sunlit hall, and we will examine it. But right now, so that I can go to physical therapy, hey girl, we are just going to get to the save point. What's up? Due to repeated instances of keys getting misplaced, from this point forward, they are to be returned to the locker at the end of every shift. All staff are required to memorize the padlock combination and are not to disclose it to anyone but authorized personnel under any circumstances. In case of any problems, report to the head nurse in examination room 3. Okay, so obviously that's where we're going. And the thing is, I know the code. But the last time I cheesed it, I couldn't remember why I had to go to examination room 3. So we're going to do it honestly so that I remember why we're doing any of this. Okay, Here's the save point. Please remind me to come back into where Maria was looking. That's very important. Hey, what's up? Okay. Oh, I can't believe it. We did it. We got here. We did it. Brookhaven Hospital. I'm trying to find something I can save over. Okay, I think that's how we got out for the next one. Okay. Let's save over that. We'll do it. Okay. This is the first time in the longest time that the game has not crashed on me. At all. It's magic. It's a day of celebration, James. We're having such a good day. Okay. So I'm going to hit us here. I'm going to go to physical therapy. We're going to come back. It's going to be no time at all for you. But I have to go get my back right with God. And I will be back at some point. Ian's stream is tonight. I mean, you'll be watching this days later. But that's going to be a lot of fun. He is leaving the hospital and going out into one of my favorite areas, which is the area we were just at, but by night, in the dark, in the rain, with neon gleaming through the night. And it's fighting. It's so much fighting. I love it. Even as I yell at everybody. I'm so jealous that he's that far ahead and I'm just only now getting to the hospital. Okay. I'm rambling. So we're going to be back for you in a few seconds. See you then. Y'all, I'm so happy. I'm so happy. I just did a test. 24 hours after I left off just there. OBS is still smiling upon me. I'm so happy. Forgot to take my sweater off. Here we go. Y'all, I have been recording and re-recording those Maria sections, the 5th commentary, and the first 2/3 of this one, over and over and over, trying to work around crashes and picture quality that looked like dirt in an earthquake for a month. And I finally get to move on to anything else. I'm so excited. I can't even tell you. Okay, we're good. Okay, for my sake, because you've just watched this, but let me recap for me.
Key in there. No combination, though.
We should look around. Might be written down somewhere.
Okay, for my sake, we are going to the 3rd examination room. Should have already opened that. Okay, I have screen capped all of this from my practice run. Beautiful sunlight, the only sunlight in all of Silent Hill. Enjoy it. It's not going to last. I don't think there's anything to really hone in on in the background. Mary's time of death, as usual. I can talk. Did I just run in here to the save point so fast I didn't even open anything? Okay, point of order. This computer style, if we're trying to date the game potentially, I grew up with this style of computer. I think this would fit 1986, mid 80s, if that's what we're thinking based on the calendars. 1983 is when we keep seeing the calendar, what we see on the calendar. I think that could possibly work. The drive on the left side of the CPU is more of a really broad floppy disk. Like how big were they? 5 inches? They were literally floppy. And then you have the smaller 3-inch type. That might be the drive on the right. And we call those floppy disks now. But they really were a little... You could use them as a coaster, you know? They're a little more solid. Okay, so I walked straight past this fan because I was just trying to live life. Hey, how you doing? It's Bullets. In a mental hospital with a shotgun. Always a good sign of a professional venture. Whereas these photos look so much older. Like that's like a Model T up there, car on the corkboard. Before the next commentary, I'm going to try to look up the history of nurse uniforms. Because now we associate nurses with scrubs, like loose shirt, loose pants. I don't know at what point nurses stopped commonly wearing little dresses. I can say, though, that the dresses the nurses here wear barely cover their business, and I know there was no nurse in history that ever wore that kind of dress. So I'm curious as to where we would have gotten that idea from, where James would have gotten that in his head from. So we've got this fan. I talk about repetition and cycles a lot. He is both potentially looping this journey through Brookhaven Hospital with Maria over and over and over in Silent Hill. However, it also perhaps alludes to the fact that he spent time in the hospital visiting Mary, and now he's back at a different hospital. So this is once again, he is once again back here. Did I not pick any of this up? I know I must have gone through here. The reason this alarms me is because I'm like, if I did go through here, what didn't save? The director requested the files of the 3 crucial patients. You know which ones. Could you please bring them to his office? I don't think we're going to get into these patients until the next commentary. After, well, I won't say after what. We're going to get deeper into the hospital, and we're going to get to the director's office. And I think that's when this concept is introduced, and we'll talk about them then. On Ian's stream, he really went deep into who these 3 patients might represent. And I was there in the chat, and he and I have discussed this by email. So I was a helper. I help. But that was really his big, let's figure this out kind of thing. And I was back here researching God knows what on my part. So we will get into that and what Ian, and to a lesser extent, I figured out in the next commentary. This one is mostly just to get some electricity going and an elevator. Okay, so this is super important. This is the one thing I'm going to sit here for half an hour and talk about. I don't think there's anything else in this area. It's this. This is Jung's model of the psyche. Freud's model was more of an iceberg with the ego partly visible and then the id and the superego beneath the surface. Jung decided to get fancy. And I mentioned Freud because we know for a fact that Freudian psychology is in the foundation of this game. In Silent Hill Chronicle, Book of Lost Memories, I believe Lost Memories, which was put out, by Konami, and it's got a number of interesting, it's the closest thing we have to a story Bible. And when I keep saying this street was named after this author, that's my source on that, this official guidebook. Lots of trivia in it. And they quote Akira Yamaoka, the composer, who I talk about a lot, as saying that the scenario writer, Hiroyuki Iwaku, used Freudian psychology in the foundation, the basis of this story. Now, Max Derrett on YouTube, I've mentioned his videos a bit, has a fairly compelling theory that Hiroyuki Iwaku also used Jungian psychology. And if you're using Freudian, there's a pretty good bet you're using both because they were colleagues. They were contemporaries. Freud was a bit older and more established. He considered Carl Jung to be his successor until they had a falling out about 6 years into their correspondence and collaboration on the early field of psychoanalysis. I think they had some personal differences. They also had some professional differences in terms of how they viewed and described the psyche. So it was a falling out. But for a while, they were very close. And for a while, their ideas of the subconscious were kind of working in tandem. It wouldn't surprise me if Jungian psychology is in the background of the story as well. I think it's definitely here in Bloober Team's remake because they have put this diagram on the wall. Like, hey, here we are. Some key points in Jungian psychology. And I know it, I'm familiar with it, but in a very pop psychology kind of way. I haven't done any deep reading, but I know several of the concepts. You've heard of the collective unconscious. You've heard of various archetypes that kind of got boiled down and very simplified into the Myers-Briggs test. This is kind of where this is, coming from. And Caroline Mace's writing about sacred contracts and various archetypes that any given person might have 12 of them, and various, you're not just one. Your personality is not just one archetype. You're not just one Myers-Briggs type, is what I'm getting at. And one of Jung's ideas was that a whole and healthy psyche would have masculine and feminine qualities. You would have all of them. You would be combined. Now, I will say, if we're going to talk about gender, a lot of both Freud and Jung, their ideas can be outdated. So I'm not necessarily subscribing to all of this. There is some gender discussion. Might be bullshit. Might be considered bullshit nowadays. I don't know it deeply enough to really critique it. But in terms of what this game may be working off of, again, that's the approach here, what they are working off of. The idea is that a woman might have in her mind a male counterpart or seek someone who is a male counterpart in personality, her animus. And a man would have a female counterpart, an anima. And this was Max Sterrett's theory that Maria is James's anima. And I sort of arrived at this idea on my own very clumsily by saying, oh, okay, so she's got blonde hair because she's not Mary. Blondes are more fun. This is why James was seeking something beyond Mary, outside of Mary. And then we have this shot when he first meets her at the pier. And the game has chosen to stand them at looking straight at each other. And they look like they're almost exactly the same height. They're both blonde. They almost look like twins. And I started thinking, in a very sophisticated way, blonde because different, but what if blonde because same? And I was like, it's like she came from his mind, so she's blonde like him. This is the anima concept that I'm fumbling towards. And so the idea of the anima is kind of supported by the fact that we have this Jungian diagram right here. So I really wanted to point that out. And I know that when Ian was doing his stream, he pointed it out and he was like, Cleo is going to have so much to say about this. And I was like, yes, I am. Not just because I point out everything, but because I think it is, hey, I feel so bad when I clip right through her right up front. I feel so bad. It's specifically relevant to the game writing. Okay, so now let's go to that examination room. My problem here is that I know the code. It's very memorable. And I could cheese it so easily and just put it in. But then I can't remember why I was supposed to go to examination room 3. So we're going to do this correctly. Partly so I can show you, not open yet, how we would arrive at this, how you would arrive at this on your first run. But also because there are things we're going to see and perhaps collect along the way. They want us to go there for a reason. This is locked, but I wanted to show you that. When you finally get the key to the inner ward, shit is nuts in there. Let me tell you, in terms of enemies, in terms of monsters you're going to fight, shit is nuts. I enjoy it, but... Okay, I've already passed one, but let's look at this. Brookhaven Hospital. I want you to notice that there's 4 trees. I'm at least going to cut down on that time. Nurses, sure. I think those are nurses. Okay, so there's a lot of background decor in the hospital. You know me. Is your medication safe? Here's anxiety. This is a separate drug, Alvarium. This isn't even Araxium. Don't let alcohol shatter your life. Okay, I almost thought for a second this was a new video and I was about to go, I didn't give a spoiler warning. No, this is the same one. This is why I keep saying, let me give you a blanket spoiler warning for alcohol abuse. Because it's everywhere. It's everywhere. Let's see. Okay, this is the handshake poster. This is the one that I kept swearing was an anger management poster. And I don't see any evidence of that now. And I swear to you, I'm going to go back and watch some of the streamers I first watched who got an early access copy of the game. Because I'm curious as to whether... What did I see that made me think that? Did they change the posters when the patch came out? Like... Probably not, because every time I swear something was a glitch, I turn out to be, or changed, I turn out to be wrong. But I'll check on that. Maybe for once I'm right. So here's Araxium, control, fear, which is why we think it's an anxiety drug. Let's see. Proper hygiene. We'll see that a lot. And boy, does that hit different after... Well, you know, it shouldn't hit different because this came out in 2024. So it hits differently than it would have in the original game because of COVID. Hygiene in a hot... Yeah. Wash your hands, wear your masks. This poster, remember, it uses the read function where we pull it up and we get to see a transcript of it in plain print. It uses the read function in a really interesting way because if I read this to you off the graphic, remember, if you experience poor appetite or significant weight loss, insomnia or hypersomnia, loss of interest or pleasure in usual activities, feelings of worthlessness or guilt, diminished abilities to think or concentrate, contact your health provider immediately. Okay, so I hadn't thought of it this way before, but let's say hitting R for read is like James's experience of reading it for himself. And you'll notice, I don't know how people notice this. I first heard about this on some of those 10,000 Easter eggs in Silent Hill 2 videos. I would have never noticed this. Loss of interest, pleasure, feelings of worthlessness, comma. He has omitted guilt. He does not read the word guilt. Or he doesn't admit he read it. He feels so guilty and is not ready to admit it yet. And that's such a small, not the desktop. How you doing? Hey, what's up? There we go. Actually, let me check. Okay. I was going to say what's open. Hey, buddy. What are we doing? How you doing? Okay, apparently hitting right mouse is what unfreezes you. I'll remember that. Okay, let's go here because it's right here.
There.
Laura, wait!
It's okay. We don't want to hurt you.
God damn it.
Okay,
Why would you run from us?
I don't think she likes me very much.
But why?
I don't know.
number one, you can hear Laura lock the door behind her. Number two, I think, goddamn it, I think James says that maybe twice. Yes, I have played and watched this game a lot. I hate that that's the strongest expletive he gets to use. Because if anybody should be going around Silent Hill going, what the fuck? What the fuck is this? Or like, fuck, holy fuck. If anybody should be saying that, it should be James Sunderland. Let James say fuck 2K25. Oh my God. I guess that's why we all do it for him. Okay, so number three. Laura couldn't have seen or heard Maria. Maria's like, hey, stop. But we have no indication that Laura actually registered that she was there. Because she wouldn't have. Because Maria's not real. Point fourth. Here's one of Laura's drawings. She draws either herself or Mary as a rabbit, as a bunny. She's drawn the two of them as bunnies together. There's a butterfly, which tends to represent Maria. There's a flower, which represents either Mary or Maria, but given, she doesn't, I can't remember if she colors her drawings anyway, maybe. Let's read that flower as white, at which point that would represent Mary. Which is interesting because Maria will display some of Mary's memories, some consciousness of, caring about Laura, being interested in Laura, and then not quite being sure why. Like she remembers it from somewhere else. This also, allegedly, this happens in the Born from a Wish DLC, but I never saw that dialogue triggered. I don't know. And so the big bad wolf, this is Laura not caring for James, from knowing Mary, caring about Mary. Laura was not there for the parts where Mary screamed at James, apparently. The verbal abuse that we hear a flashback of much, much later. She apparently was not there for any of that. And then I infer that Mary took the anti-anxiety medication that was on the green pharmacy receipt, got treatment for her anger and her anxiety about her diagnosis. And her mood, her coping skills improved a lot. And meanwhile, James was already alienated. And it was too late to bring him back. Or they didn't get the kind of marriage counseling they needed to get past that rift. And so James drifts further into bitterness, anxiety, alcoholism, apparently. The implication through the Heaven's Night section is that he may have been going out, thinking about other women, looking at other women. We don't know. I don't know how much of this filtered back to Mary. But I think Mary says in a letter to Laura much later, something like, I know he doesn't laugh very much. I know he's kind of surly, but he is kind. And so Laura already had this perception that James was unpleasant to Mary without knowing why. What the first half of her illness or the early part of her illness with this verbal abuse had been like. She doesn't like James. Maybe she saw him visit and didn't like the way, in fact, I think that's the implication, didn't like the way James acted. And Mary is perhaps somewhat guiltily saying, she can't say, I know why he's like that now. I feel, and she'll say she feels terrible about it. She feels very guilty. She will say that later. But she can't tell a little girl about her marital problems. So she can't be like, I know he's not great, but I know why. Oh. So Laura does not like James. And that's why she immediately saw him in Woodside Apartments and stepped on his hand and kicked the key away. And that's why she keeps running from him. Not because she's scared, but because she's basically like, get the hell out of here. Fuck you. I don't want to be around you. She's angry on Mary's behalf, maybe. So this is why she keeps drawing him throughout the game as both sort of a big bad wolf, as a large, if I say Angry Bird, you're going to think of the mobile game, an aggressive, predatory bird. This is why she draws this. And again, I don't know if this rabbit is meant to be Mary or it's meant to be Laura, and the butterfly and the flower are Mary and Maria. Not that Laura knows about Maria, but just sort of symbolically. Since Maria kind of is Mary and kind of has her memories, it's sort of like she's included in a way. This is speculation. I don't know. The other thing is that part the fifth, I guess, I want you to look at this plant right here. I don't know what kind of plant it is. I don't know if it's a type of ivy. It is not common English European ivy, which instead of having 5, what would you call that? 5 leaves to the leaf. It's a single leaf with sort of 3 points to it. I'm sitting right next to some ivy right now. We have pots of ivy in my house. The backyard's covered in it. God knows I know ivy. The ivy I am sitting next to, though, does not specifically have the 3. Ivy can look like a lot of things, is my point. We're going to see a plant later where the interpretation kind of hinges on whether it's ivy. So get a good look at it here. We'll talk about that later. And you're sitting here going, why would you make a big deal out of ivy? Because what we're going to see makes no sense at all. Nobody can figure out what it means unless perhaps we identify this plant. I don't know. Like, it is seriously worth figuring out what it is, because otherwise we have no idea. Okay. She locked the door. Wanted to establish that. We will come back later. Again, that was a lot to unpack in excruciating detail, but that's why I'm here. And again, I will always tell you up front, I could be making this up. I mean, some things I know for certain because I've done research and like, oh, they used Freudian psychology. I know this for a fact. But if I'm just spitballing, I'll let you know. Don't let alcohol shatter your life. Proper hygiene. All right. Is this the room we're looking for? I'm going to go all the way to the end. I'm going to see if there's anything here. Anything? Not yet. Okay. Here we go.
What was that?
Not sure. Better stay on your guard.
She sounds like me. What the fuck was that? What the fuck? Stay on your guard. With what? Pick up a crutch, Maria. We just passed one. Pick it up. Fight. It's 2025. Defend yourself. You did in the DLC. We know you can. Here we go. I wrote it down for you in a way you should finally be able to remember. Once you're in the lobby, just look around. Now remember, nurses, doctors, trees. That's why we looked at the trees. I think we passed the nurses. I should have stopped and had us look then. We'll pass it on the way back. It's fine. Okay, here we go. What we got? What we got? Oh, shotgun shells. They really drop very few of those. I am not going to use the shotgun unless I am in deep, deep shit. because you really need those for the bosses. Whoa, hey girl. If you go back in the other way, can't use that. Okay. She will follow you, so it makes more sense to just come out. Okay. Let's look for some doctors. I think it's like 2 doctors, 7 nurses, 4 trees. But if you're playing this for the first time, you have no way of knowing that. So let's do it the right way. Okay. Now, while you were walking around, if you happen to investigate or interact.
You looking for something in these photos?
Yes, I am. You're very observant, Maria. Do we check that? I don't think we can get into that yet. Okay, nurses, doctors, trees. Here we go. Okay, remember, I'm on a PC doing WASD. Nurses. And it is not always easy to... Nurses, doctors. It is not always easy to input things. The keys are very sensitive also. There we go.
Second floor?
Basement.
Of course.
Of course it is. Of course. Here we go. Hey. Hey, girl. You go move? Thank you. I like how James kind of clears his throat, but it also sounds like him being a little snarky, like, ugh. Ah.
This place feels so empty. More than the other places we've been.
I'm curious as to why she remarks on that. Because really, this is the largest indoor building. Like the largest place we've been inside. Like, I'm sure the Grove didn't feel as abandoned. It was a park. It's fine. Heaven's Night, she was familiar with it. It's fine. But I'm curious as to why they have her point that out. Hey. Hey, buddy. Hey. Get the flashlight. There we go. All that for nothing. Okay, I'm going to check my walkthrough notes because we're about to fight. We are about to get into some shit. This is the first fighting. You know, there is a mannequin back in the area we just came out of before, you know, back around Moonlight Grove, the theater. And I missed it, which is fine. I think I have an outtake of that from a different run. What? Well, hey, how you doing?
Hey, this one's open.
Okay. No?
Nope. Doesn't work.
Maria? What are we doing? Does it or doesn't it? Okay, head on a swivel. I'm not used to fighting anymore. I need to remember. Help me remember. Chat that doesn't exist. If you hear it, it's too late to swing. You need... Listen to me, James. This is important. You need to dodge. It is too late to swing. I know you're here. This is Mannequin Town, USA. I know you're here. Where are you? Did I not pick up the map? the basement map? Maria, you distracted me. We're going back out. There's a basement map, and we need it. Thank you. Okay, because in the Otherworld version of this map, I got lost somewhere around the storage boiler room area for, as always, about half an hour. I was supposed to be in the pump room the whole time. Okay, so, we have the map. We want to go back. Why are you going backwards? I know I said we want to go back, but not like that. Okay, we're going the right way. We got to get our shit together, okay? We're being kind of loopy. We're going to get our asses kicked. How's your gun look? Oh, it looks bad. Okay. 5 bullets. No. Let's reload that shit. Okay. Check your corners.
Huh. Generator.
You think you could get it working? Might get the elevator running again.
Is there a video game on this earth that does not have either a generator puzzle or a fuse box puzzle? Is there? Because I'm really not sure. Oh shit. Oh shit. What's out here? Hey. What are you doing? What are you doing? Where are you? Maria? What'd you see? What'd you hear? What are you telling me about? Fine. Whatever. Whoa, hey, thank you. Okay. I don't think that's a mannequin. Okay. Get your dodge ready. Here we go. Get your fingers. Well, hey, girl. There you go. Not this time. Maybe this time. They always lure us in with goodies. Here we go. See, here's the thing. You can play this game in your own personal style. You can charge ahead. You can walk around carefully. You can run away from the monsters. You can fight all of them. That's me. But it is a little bit, as with most video games, my understanding is, you're kind of making your own movie. And if I'm going in slowly and carefully, you kind of have this suspense kind of camera work, if you will. Not this time, not this time. Why am I shooting? Maria, get out of the way. I should have just fought it instead of wasting like a whole clip. Why did I do that? Because I need the practice, that's why. Maria, you're gonna get shot someday. I probably already shot her. I know I've swung the pipe straight through her. Okay, where are we going? Because we're not just going to the generator. We want to search everything for loot to make up those bullets I just wasted. What? I'm sorry. James, I'm sorry. That's my fault. Have we been down here? I knew about you! I knew about you and I forgot. Wait, no, you're not the one I'm thinking of. Okay, no, maybe I didn't know about you. Hey, what you got? Give it to me. Thank you, I will use that. Maria, you could have picked up that crutch. You could be swinging right now. I know you fought in your DLC. Okay, we did talk about this. How, given that she's manifested by Silent Hill from James's mind, maybe he wanted something. Something, that's terrible. Someone who would be dependent on him, who would make him feel like a big, strong man. Here we are. No, we didn't fill it with gasoline yet. We can't just find a gas can. You know why I remember that? Because there's a cute little 30-second cutscene of James filling the can with gas. We just take the time to do that. Okay, where are we? Okay, we probably have to go into the laundry storage area. Knowing this game. Is this it? No, it's not. Hey, Maria, if you didn't follow me so closely, you wouldn't have to turn around every time I do. Y'all, I confessed this back in the Blue Creek commentary. I opened the map on my first run. The final stats screen said, I think, 1,037 times. I'm really trying not... Oh, fuck you. What now? Not you, Maria. Fuck them. You're fine. Uh-oh, laundry area. I'm really trying to open the map less. For comparison, one of the pro streamers I watched opened it 300 times. Hey! Not today. Who else? Okay, that was you. They do this slumping sound, this delayed... It makes me feel really bad. I like you guys. I'm very sorry. Okay. Running low. Bleach, white laundry detergent, starch, white sheets. A note that says, the amount of bleach you use is getting ridiculous, and the sheets are not getting any whiter. I won't ask questions. Just end it. What is this implying? What is going on here? What are they trying to bleach? Like blood? Like what is going on that they're trying to hide something, obscure some activity that causes... I don't know. Just end it. Like, what is going on here? And I don't know. The director of the hospital is getting up to some shit in terms of very cruel practices with his patients, but someone working in laundry wouldn't speak to him that way. So I don't know who is saying this and who they're speaking to, but this is some implication that there is some shit happening here, and it's not great. Let's see. We got anything here? One of these fuckers. Okay. They're fine. The carts are fine. Maria, please. Thank you. Maria, that was purely Maria. I love you, Maria, but you gotta not do that. These carts are so fiddly to move. There better not be anybody waiting in here. You better not jump me while I'm trying to move one of these fucking carts. Why am I getting cranky? I love this area. I love fighting. I'm getting sassy. I'm gonna get on the cart. I'm just looking around. Okay, clearly we've been through that way. There's a pool of blood. Where's our cart? Here we go. Walk a little bit over. Hey, thank you.
Hey.
Don't worry. I'll be right back.
What the fuck do I know? Why would I know where I'm going, Maria? I'm stupid and I'm going in without looking. I'm James Sunderland and I make terrible decisions. Let's search. What we got? Thank you. Actually, if I open it, I wonder if she'll come in. Hey, thank you. There you go. Unlike the garage where she just stands there with her back to me. I'm sorry, I'm getting spicy today. Okay. I can't remember if this is from the original game or this is just let's show you what it looked like in 1932. Let's see. At least there's nobody in here to jump us. What we got? Let's search. I don't know that I've ever actually let Maria in at this point before. This game does just have some just odd cinematics where it's like, I don't know why we stopped to... James, don't shoot the gasoline. Good God. This whole place is going to go up. You good? Okay. Just checking out her nails. I'm surprised Maria doesn't pull out a nail file. The game has these odd little cinematics where you're not sure why you're watching him do this. But I guess it's better than looking at the back of his head 24/7. I can't argue with that. Are we going towards the generator? Somehow we are. Don't know how I managed that. Oh! Oh, you're being sneaky. Oh, I just managed to dodge that. Just barely. Where'd you come from? I was already in here. Where the fuck did you come from? It's okay. Periodic reminder of things we've talked about in the DLC, which they haven't remade yet. I will play it day and date. If they make it. Where are we? We learned that Maria she doesn't want to die. She's afraid of pain. And she's terrified of being alone, of loneliness, being abandoned, having no one with her. Okay, we need to go out of there. We need to get out of here. Hey. So this is why she sticks very close to James and why she cowers a good bit. She's capable of defending herself, but apparently she doesn't want to anymore. Okay, where are we pointed? Don't go that way. Go this way. This is why you open... Oh, well, hey! What are you doing? I don't know if I'm going in a different order than I usually go, but I don't remember a lot of this. Maria, sweetie, it's okay.
I think they're gone. For now.
Thank you for keeping an eye out. You know, I would say... Maria, you're overreacting, except that I did let her get vomited on a few times. Truly, she cannot trust me to keep her safe, in all fairness. Again, cute little cinematic. I guess it's better than just staring at him. The back of his head. Uh-oh. That's an autosave. That's a bad sign.
Yes, did it. Let's check out that elevator.
That's such an interesting... Yes, you did it. Like, big, strong gamer man, you know. He did such a good job. Both of us, him and me. He just wanted somebody who would make him feel good about himself. There is some area where you get so jumped. Where is it? Okay, we're gonna have to go back around. Not that way? It's not. Is it this way? Huh. Okay, I thought we got somebody here. So they got up and came after us. Okay. That's fine. There was some area with a locked gate. Is it you? It's you. Come out. I'm on it, Maria. This one tends to get back up. Stay down. Don't get up. I'm watching you. Yeah, that's right. Maria, get out of the way. Maria, get out of the way. Maria, get... No, Maria. I blame you, Maria. That's a nice little flip, though. I respect it. Maria, I told you to get out of the way. That one always gets up. I don't know why. Where's the elevator? Are we going this way? Yay! Yay! Here we go. Where are we going? Do we want to go to 1? Maybe? Where are we going? I genuinely don't know. Where are we going? Oh, okay. Huh. We should have had a lying figure come out. And it didn't. Interesting. Okay. Well, we are almost at the end of this commentary. You're about to find out why. I was asking Ian. I wonder what Silent Hill elevator music sounds like. Like, is it just love song on saxophone? Okay.
Maria? Hey. You okay?
I'm sorry.
That's fine. What's going on? Are you hurt?
It's nothing. Probably just a hangover.
Maybe you should rest.
Yeah. Okay. comfy.
I'm gonna go look for Laura. I'll be back as soon as I can.
James? I wanted to ask you. What if you can't find Mary? What will you do?
I haven't really thought about that.
Get back soon, okay?
We have a number of things to talk about there. Take it from the end first. I think she is trying to put the idea into his head. You need to think about the idea. Oh, we're out in the hall? You need to think about the idea that maybe you're going to be leaving this town without Mary. You need to start thinking about that. You could always leave with me. But I think also there's genuine concern in her voice. It might be manipulative, but it really sounds like genuine concern for, like, James, I've been with you for a minute now. I don't think we're finding Mary. I know I'm fucked if we find her, but I don't think we are. What are you gonna do? And I think by this point in the game, I think maybe the player has started wondering that as well. Like, James, we're chasing Laura at this point. We're not even following a Mary lead. What happens? Have you thought about this yet? I think this is about the right time for someone to say, have we considered that? And he hasn't. And he has to admit, I wasn't thinking about that, but I don't want to think about that. It's not great. It's not, because you're kind of right. It's not looking good for us right now. Other thing is, I don't know why Maria always has to get around any kind of bed or like the cheap motel or something and be, what's the word I'm trying to think of? Not innuendo, but the adjective form, like suggestive about it. Like, she's sick, she's not feeling well. Comfy. Like, wouldn't you like to lay down next to me? Like, Maria, she is always the most, just all the time, always. But what I love is that they then cut to James, who just has this complete, like, okay, anyway, I'm gonna go look for Laura. Like, he just, go back and look at it. He's just completely, like, it's not working on him at all. Going back a little, where did she get those pills from? Like, was that from the infinite bra of holding that the key came from? Or did she just grab some ancient abandoned pills from the room here? Like, where did you pull those out from? What are you doing? How you doing?
Sorry, I just need a moment. I'm alright. I'm just tired.
Yeah, she's done. Okay. Now, I'm somebody with chronic fatigue from long COVID. But boy, you gotta be tired if you're willing to lay on that nasty ass mattress. You've got to be tired. I don't know that I've ever been that tired. Wow, that's so disgusting. Who knows what's been happening? I mean, something's happening in this hospital that they did not have enough bleach for. All right, so this... Take care of what matters most. Leave the rest to us. Toluca Palliative Care Center. Hospice, basically. Which sounds very much like Mary. it is interesting that we see this right across from the room Maria has laid down in. And I'll go ahead and tell you, she doesn't die in this room. But that's... We might think about that poster a little bit later in the game. All right, so we're going to have a save point in C3. Let's talk about this. I think it always... We got something here, maybe. Oh, maybe we do. Maybe we don't. So what's going on in this room? I searched for this painting and didn't... I don't even know to what extent this is a painting or a blood splatter. I couldn't even tell you. It's not great. Why do I bother? Okay, so long blood trail scratches by the bed. That's not great at all. Like what's even happening here? Like, they're not trying to get through the wall. Are they trying to get out of the bed? Like, what was happening here? This is the nice version of the hospital. This isn't even the otherworld version. What is happening here? Nice little TV in the corner. A lot of the hospital gives me like 1950s vibes, but then you have these TVs that are clearly from the 70s or later. I don't know. Mary's time of death, as always. Okay, so let's get to this window. Sad window. Okay. It is always... Let's unlock the door that Laura locked. Thank you. It's always tough to start speculation with, this isn't what it is, but let's pretend it was. Like, that automatically invalidates whatever you're saying. But I'm going to do it anyway. This 5-sectioned leaf. I don't know if this is a type of ivy. Kind of looks like Virginia creeper to me, actually. That's what I said, James. There is a note written on a chalkboard at the Lakeview Hotel near the end of the game. And it says, Hedera helix seems to have some kind of pest. Separate from the rest of the plants, or they'll all die. They'll all die is underlined. Okay. There actually is... Hedera helix is ivy. It's common ivy. English ivy, European ivy. It's what I've got all over the trees in my backyard. So I know it on sight. This isn't that. I'm wondering if it's a type of ivy. You do see, I think I did locate some English ivy at Lakeview Hotel. So it's not like they don't know what that looks like. However, that chalkboard message never pays off in any way. I don't recall seeing anything dead, significantly dead, around the English ivy or around the creeper vines. I have no idea why that's there. Except you do have some kind of vine right here. And you have this dead plant. My potential theory is that the plant represents Maria and the vine represents Mary. Now, while Mary is the one who died, based on the fact that Maria gets sick, it's like Mary's memory is alive and well in James's mind. Ironically, Mary is alive and well in his mind. And so being confronted by what James really cares about, Maria kind of withers and gets sick. And that plant represents her. That's a guess. I'm spitballing because that isn't common ivy. I don't know. In the sentence, sorry, I dropped my phone. In the sentence, it seems to have some kind of pest. I think James is the pest. I can't really tell you why I think that, but if you know, you know. We'll talk about it later. What we do know is not a whole lot. What we do know is that James comes out of this elevator, right? Let's do a quick turn. Thank you. He sees this window. Go back and look. I can't read the expression on his face. And I'm very good with micro expressions, with that kind of subtlety. I'm very good. You've seen me. If you've read my write-ups, I will take screen caps and walk you through, eye flutter by eye flutter. I will tell you what I think is going on. I can't read his face there. I really can't. It's some kind of wonder isn't quite the right word. He might be remembering something. See, if any of this image right here was associated with Mary already, like if he'd walked in and there was something with white flowers, I'd be like, oh, okay. But none of this should remind him of anything. Ian and I have talked in our emails. I emailed him one day and I said, what do we think the rain means as a symbol? Because you think grief just automatically, but there are situations where grief doesn't make sense. Like it starts raining during that first Pyramid Head fight. There's going to be a very nice scene with Maria where it's raining and she says, oh, isn't it romantic? Like, that's not grief. What we arrived at is that maybe rain just expresses emotion for James, any kind of emotion that he isn't expressing. And so then you go, okay, he looks out this window, and Ian's the one who pointed this out. It isn't already raining. He's looking at it, and then it starts raining. He's feeling something about this, and then emotion starts pouring out. I don't know what emotion that is. I can't figure this out at all. I mean, we were throwing theories back and forth. It was like maybe he's looking out this window at the real world instead of this hospital, at nature, at, something, I don't know, fresh air, and that's real, and Maria isn't real, and she's kind of allergic to what's real and got sick. I mean, I don't know. I'm coming up with all of this stuff that doesn't even make sense. I cannot figure out what this window means. And that's why, even though it's not the right kind of vine exactly, the idea that there's a dead plant there by a living plant and Maria gets sick, that's why that's the best I can come up with. That's another phone message warning me of impending noise. That's the best thing I can come up with. The cause and effect of James sees something, Maria gets sick. Something to do with this window in the end of this hall. You tell me, James. Don't look at me. You tell me. I have never seen anybody figure out what this is. I don't know. I truly don't know. And again, the reason I bring up the Hedera Helix chalkboard is because it does not pay off in any other way in the game that I'm aware of. I don't know. I truly don't know. So this is kind of an odd note to leave this commentary on. But I wanted to leave it here. Let's check. Is this open? I don't think there's anything in here I wouldn't be fighting in the last 30 seconds. There we go. That's nice. That's very nice. I think that's all that's in here. We're going to go into C3 and we're going to save. It's very nice. Here's C3. Very nice, very nice. And I wanted to leave off here. Anything else? Because commentaries 5 and this is 6 have basically been the Maria episodes. And now we've put Maria to bed. And this is the last we're going to see of her. For a minute, we're going to catch up with her. I think we catch up with her at the end of Otherworld, Brookhaven Hospital, which is going to be a few hours from now, to be honest with you. She's not gone for good, but it's going to be a while. So let's draw a close to our time with Maria for a while. To sign off, I am Cleolinda on Patreon, Tumblr. I'm trying to get back onto Blue Sky and remember to hang out there more. I got out of the microblogging habit, and I'm having a hard time remembering what do you say on Blue Sky, you know? I'm not used to here's what I had for lunch on Twitter like we used to do. I'm going to have to get back into the swing of what we talk about. So I'm going to try to spend more time on Blue Sky. You can get all of the Silent Hill stuff for free on Patreon. Weekend links summarizing stuff I saw on Tumblr through the week. You get that every Sunday. It's also free. First look at stuff on the $1, $5 levels. I'm trying to get back more into the perfume reviews I used to write and the Varney the Vampire recaps. We'll see. Hopefully, I had thought about doing more audio, like reading aloud when I do Varney, so that could be fun. All right, so let me sign off for now. We will finish Fog World, Brookhaven Hospital, when I come back. See you guys then.